And the back marker is Soviet Line, and still isolated over on the far side is Bari as they pass the 5 furlong pole. Muhab on the near side. Just in behind is Ridgewood Pearl, then Mr. Martini, and behind Mr. Martini is Bishop of Cashel, and then Soviet Line. They're past the half-mile marker, and Willie Carson, riding this tactical race on the wide outside on Bari, is in front by about 2 lengths as he makes the turn. From Ridgewood Pearl, his big rival in second, then Mr. Martini and Bishop of Cashel, then making into the ground from the rear is Soviet Line coming down to the 2 furlong pole. And it's Bari the leader from Ridgewood Pearl. Bari on the far rail, Ridgewood Pearl on the near side. Soviet Line is improving all the time towards the stand side. Bari is quickening over on the far side, and the mare is now under pressure, Ridgewood, and Bari has got up. Bari has got her. He's striding away now. He's going to win the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, and he's going to win it very easily. Bari has won it at the line. Bari is the winner. Second is Ridgewood Pearl. Third is Soviet Line, and 4 is Bishop of Cashel. 5 came Mr. Martini, and 6 was the intended pacemaker, Muhab. And so an amazing tactical race this by Willie Carson, and the result of the Queen Elizabeth II Stakes. First, number 3, Bari, owned by Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum, trained by John Dunlop, and ridden by Willie Carson, his 8th winner of the Queen Elizabeth II, and second was number 6, Ridgewood Pearl, owned by Mrs. Anne Coughlin, trained by John Oxenhausen and ridden by John Murter, and third was number 2, Soviet Line, owned by Sheikh Maktoum Al Maktoum, trained by Michael Stout and ridden by Walter Swindon, with fourth, number 4, Bishop of Cashel.
You've got to say it's a tactical triumph for Willie Carson. He decided that was where the ground was, that was where he was going to go. He disregarded his pacemaker, and he's come over. When he comes over, he's got a lead of 4 lengths, and he hasn't been on a race on good to soft ground. He's been racing on practically firm ground under the trees. Ridgewood Pearl and John Murter move up to him, but this is a game that brings elephants to their knees. Just something that no one took regard of. Bari, perhaps this is the way that he's wanted to be ridden all along, in front.
Well, we said it was going to be a tactical race, Julian, but Willie Carson was a very brave man to do what he did. But it's paid off. But let's go back to the filly, Ridgewood Pearl. If you look there, she hasn't got a stride at all today. She's changed her legs 3 or 4 times. But back to Bari, all the way up to the line now. He's a very good horse. He proved it here in the St. James's Palace. He's proved it once again.
Go over there.
It was always in the back of my mind, but Dick Hearn rang me this morning. He said, "Are you going to do your usual?" I said, well, I'll have to have a look. It was debatable because I didn't think the ground on the inside was that slow, but I had to do something to beat the filly because I couldn't beat her on form. You know, so I had to do something to give me the edge, and obviously I overdid it. I won 6 lengths.
But it was a bold move to go over there, but when you came over, you must have been delighted to see you were 3 or 4 lengths in front.
I knew I'd win as soon as they didn't come with me, because the ground under the trees it's protected from the weather, you see, and the watering doesn't get there. So it's only 2 furlongs of it, but it gave me the edge, you see. It just gave me the edge. But he is a good. You must remember, he is a bloody good horse.
And consistent.
Yes, you know, he got beat at Goodwood, receiving only £6 from a Guineas winner and a year older. That was everybody didn't sort of click on that. He's only £6. You know, it was a good performance, and he got beat ahead. And then he got beaten in the mile and a quarter race at York by possibly a horse of the century. So.
But it was a bit odd today to see you on one side and your apparent pacemaker on the other side, leading the rest.
Oh, well, that was Richard D. He was there as a decoy, wasn't he? It was part of the plan. Richard, you know, he deserves a pat on the back as well as myself.
Well, Willie, you won this race 7 times already before today. How does this compare with the good ones of the past?
Oh, great. I always remember winning on Rose Bowl. Won Group 1 in those days, it was Group 2. Yeah, so you know, actually my first winner, I think, was for John Dunlop many years ago, and the Duchess of Norfolk's. Rose Bowl, I can't remember the others.
Could you be heading for the Breeders' Cup on this horse, do you think, at Belmont Park?
Haven't asked the question. Sheikh Hamdan likes winning races in England. It gives him more pleasure to win with races in England than it does going abroad. But no doubt Mr. Dunlop will try and persuade him to go over there and put the icing on the cake. He is a very good horse. Great. And he goes on firm.
great victory.
The sales. But, you know, it's not just like a car. You can't just put a shine on it and say that.
Yeah. Ah, that looks like Cory Nakatini, I think. No, that looks like the American champion, Cory Nakatini, right? That was recorded earlier, I have to be honest, riding for Henry Cecil. But we're back live, and the past few days, I mean, I bet it's been cold early on right now, Paul.
Yeah, the last week or so it's got a lot colder, but for the time of year the weather's still very good. It's normally raining this time of the year, and everywhere's the ground's very soft. The weather's been fantastic. Really.
Does it make a difference to your weight, Paul, when you start getting this time of year?
I find it quite difficult when it's hot, really, because you're drinking so much and your fluid puts on a lot more weight.
So it's actually easier.
Another flight in the big race for him this afternoon.
Check that Flemens Firth is in the lead as they race up the straight now. He's being challenged all the time by Marildo towards his outside. Triarius is making ground on the inner. Just Happy's under pressure. Madrileno's trying to get on terms with him. It's Flemens Firth from Marildo still. Triarius moving into third. Here comes Madrileno towards the outside with Bolachine as they race inside the final furlong, and it's Flemens Firth now from Bolachine, the challenger. Flemens Firth from Bolachine as they race up towards the line. Flemens Firth wins it from Bolachine. It's close for third, with Triarius just getting third ahead of Marildo and Just Happy and Madrileno, with last in fact Batoy. And so the result of the Prix d'Ola is first, number 1, Flemens Firth, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, who won this in 1993 with Knife Box, trained by John Gosden, who himself trained Knife Box in 93, and ridden by Frankie Dettori. What a great start to the meeting for him, the rider of Lamtara in the Arc de Triomphe. Second was number 5, Volachine, a good run by him, owned by Mr. R.C. Strauss, trained by Robert Collet, and ridden by the 3 times French champion Thierry Janet. And third was number 3, Triarius, owned by Godolphin Racing, trained by Saïd bin Sarur, and ridden by Mick Kinnan. That's the 1, 2, 3 in the Prix d'Ola.
Cool conditions, but the two were preparing for the challenge ahead.
Did he travel well?
Yeah, brilliant.
He hasn't been abroad before, has he?
Yeah, he won at Turin, the Italian St. Badger.
Of course he did. Now what about the ground? Do you think it'll be all right for him?
Stop. Because in Turin it was a lot heavier than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he loved it over there.
Yeah.
This is his ground.
Well, he looks the part.
This is his ground.
So we're going to win today?
Yeah. No problem.
So Double Trigger confident to win today, and there he is in the paddock now, almost ready for the race. So let's find out the opposition here with the runners and riders. Peter O'Sullivan.
Number 1 is Always Earnest, ridden by Alain Badel. 2 is Munax, an old rival of Double Trigger, ridden by Pat Edery, who, amazingly for a 4 times ARC-winning rider, is without a ride tomorrow. 3, Double Trigger himself, ridden by Jason Weaver. 4, Nononito, ridden by Gerald Mosse, who rides Sunrise Song tomorrow. 5, Admiral's Well, the 3rd English challenger, ridden by Frankie Dettori. And 6 is Apaphos, ridden by Dominique Boeuf, who rides Gunboat Diplomacy tomorrow. Those are the 6 runners for the French Gold Cup, the Prix du Cadran. Here's how they bet.
Well, he's odds on, as we thought he would be, but not quite as short as he was at one juncture, as you can see. He's 0.7 to 1 on. That's 10 to 7 on. Munax has shortened on the course down to 2.4 to 1. Then it's 6.8 to 1, the best of the French, Always Earnest. 9.2 to 1, Nononito. 12.1 to 1, Admiral's Well, the 3rd British challenger, and the German horse, the German-bred horse, Epaphos, outsider at 13.3 to 1. Well, there he is. He is a credit to his trainer, Mark Johnson. What a season. He's won 5 out of 6. He won the Goodwood Cup, the Doncaster Cup, but most important of all, the Gold Cup at Ascot, where, quite simply, he outstayed his great rival, Munax. Jason Weaver took the bull by the horns, ground perhaps a little bit firmer than he really likes there, you'd guess from his head carriage, but look at the blue colours of Moonax, and you can see that already turning in, Pat Edery was pushing the panic button. There was nothing more to give. When he gets beyond 2 miles, Moonax, he seems to struggle. On the outside, Admiral's Well running his best race of the season. But look at this horse go, Double Trigger, winning the first of the Cup races in brilliant style. And, well, if he can maintain this winning sequence, the sky's the limit for this bonny chestnut colt with the white blaze. And his great rival on the left is Moonax in the blue colours. Moonax, last year's St. Leger winner. He's met Double Trigger 3 times in all. In fact, the score is 2-1 to Moonax so far, because he beat Double Trigger in the St. Leger last year and the Yorkshire Cup. And of course he won the Prix Royal Oak, the French St. Leger last year, when he beat Always Earnest. One from the right, Moonax, who's under the strongest pressure from Pat Edery, and it's only now that Richard Quinn gets to work on Strategic Choice. But Moonax under a really hard drive, and Pat was punished for that drive, only fails by a short head to beat a genuine Arc de Triomphe contender. Chestnut coat, and he looks in terrific shape on the whole. I think the horses over here have looked better in their coats than the horses we've seen at Newmarket in the last 2 or 3 days. We've had some very cold nights in England, but this horse, trained at Lambourne by Barry Hills, he looks in stunning form in his coat. A revelation, another horse who spent the winter in Dubai with Godolphin. Never the most tractable of individuals last year, but much less so now. Now, number 1, the blinkered runner, Always Earnest, ridden by Alain Badel for his husband, for his wife rather, Miriam Balak Badel. Well, this horse is having his first run since he was 3rd in the Prix de Barbeville at Saint-Cloud in May. The going was good to soft that day, but he had a good racecourse gallop at Maison Lafitte 2 weeks ago, so his very talented trainer thinks that he's just about fit to do justice. The other runners, Nonanito. Here's Peter.
And they start right over by the Porte d'Auteuil, and they're starting at a fairly leisurely pace, as you'll gather, 2.5 miles, and Jason Weaver not afraid to go on and make it. So, Double Trigger making it from Admiral's Well. Over on the far left is Epiphos. Just in behind them comes Nonanito, and then Moonax. Always Earnest, the back marker of the sextet. And Jason Weaver setting a fairly steady pace in this 850,000 franc six-figure sterling prize, this Prix du Cadran, Group 1, and Double Trigger making it from Admiral's Well and Epiphos. Moonax on the inside of Nonanito, and the back marker, Always Earnest. They're racing up the straight now for the first time, shortly be coming to the post with another winning post with another complete circuit, and Double Trigger making it from Admiral's Well, a 1-2 for English horses at the moment, with Epiphos over on the far side, behind them Nonanito, Moonax tucked in on the far rail under Pat Edery, and then Always Earnest. So they're beginning to swing right-handed, and they'll shortly be passing the Arc de Triomphe start. You'll just probably spot the mill in the background as they swing right, which is just at the outset of the 1.5 mile course from which they'll be setting out in the great race tomorrow. And still Jason Weaver setting this quite conservative gallop on Double Trigger from Admiral's Well, Epiphos and Nonanito, Moonax, and Always Earnest. And it's been virtually the same order throughout so far. They begin a steady uphill climb shortly, with Double Trigger being quite closely attended by Admiral's Well, Epiphos and Nononito almost matching strides, then Munax and Always Earnest. And just passing behind the Petit Bois, as it's known, a well-known landmark here, where they used to be hidden in the Arc de Triomphe, but nowadays there is a camera posted the other side. So we maintain contact with them and see the white face of Double Trigger still from Admiral's Well, who chased him home at Goodwood. Then Nononito and Epiphos together, then Munax and Always Earnest. Climbing to the top of the hill, beginning the long descent now towards the home straight, and still Double Trigger from Admiral's Well. Epiphos and Nononito, Munax and Always Earnest. Nobody has made a significant move yet. Admiral's Well keeping tabs on Double Trigger, Epiphos and Nononito, then Munax just being nudged along a little bit now by Pat Edery as they make their way towards the home turn in this Prix du Cadran, and it's still Double Trigger from Admiral's Well in this fairly arduous ground, as you'll gather from their action. Double Trigger from Admiral's Well and Munax coming there quite sweetly now towards the outside in the Godolphin colours. Behind them Nononito, making a run from the rear is Always Earnest, and Double Trigger's under pressure, and Munax is coming to almost join him now. Always Earnest and Nononito improving, and Munax taking a fractional advantage now from Double Trigger, and here comes Always Earnest on the outside. Always Earnest coming to run down Munax as they race up towards the line. It's Always Earnest for France from Munax. Munax is fighting back again as they race towards the line. It's Always Earnest from Munax, Always Earnest and Munax. And as they pass the line, it's just Always Earnest from Munax with Nononito back in third. A disappointing fourth was Double Trigger. I wonder whether his Melbourne Cup run will still be on. And a very tired Admiral's Well came next with Epiphos last. And so the result of the Prix du Cadran as we see it now. First, number one, Always Earnest, who came from last to first under Alain Badel to win this for Madame Claude Bourg and Madame Miriam Bolac-Badel. Second was number two, Munax, owned by Godolphin, trained by Barry Hills and ridden by Pat Edery. And third was number four, Nononito, owned by Mr. Patrick Sebar, trained by John Lebourde and ridden by Gerald Mossy. Disappointing fourth, Double Trigger, and there goes the klaxon signifying
the paddock before the Cambridgeshire. Nearly as many as it will take, and as you saw from the stalls there, you can see why the safety limit is 40, because that's as many stalls as the Rowley Mile will take. And there's the mount of Michael Roberts, Naked Welcome. We heard that he's got a slight skin complaint, but that's the only bad news about him. Naked Welcome has won the Magnet Cup this season. He has, it's true, run a couple of baddish races, but last time out against Triarius, the Godolphin horse at York, he ran really well in enabling, or maybe he will enable, his trainer Martin Featherstone Godley to complete the most wonderful double. But there's all sorts of dangers. I don't think this is one of the biggest. Certainly Maralinga was last in the Derby at Epsom. Things went wrong that day, and his last run was against Posidonas at Goodwood. That didn't really suggest that he's going to win anything quite as competitive as this.
Really is a wonderful race, this, John.
It's a tremendous contest. You can't predict which side is going to be favoured, who's going to. You can't predict anything with any confidence. That is Master Bevel, who's would be I imagine among the outsiders.
Yeah, he had his chance last week. I thought the ground was in his favour, and he actually ran well at Ascot. And as well as he looks, you've got to say that maybe he just missed the boat. That was.
Better get on. The Mount of Nicky Carnile has won. Got a high winner to runs average. He's won 5 of his 11 races and didn't run at all badly behind Captuluca last time at York. But he would have to make up quite a bit to beat the top weight.
Virtual Reality. Not all that big, this horse of Tony Hyde's, but like many of these, there are a lot of these horses very closely handicapped, and if you were just going down and saying, right, we'll make a short list of 10, I'm not quite sure whether he'd have got on it. It's been a good servant to Tony Hyde, though, this year. Kept his form remarkably well.
Sue's return, we're looking at one of the 2 Sues. She would probably not have as good a chance as Sue's Artiste, and she hopes she won't be too long in the stalls, because she did get in a panic and had to be taken out of the stalls in one of her runs this year. You can see she's getting a little bit on her toes now. Brian Riley there leading Sue's return in.
Well, let's have a look at the eye catchers. Maralinga, difficult choice this. Celestial Choir, she took the eye on the way to the post. Yush in the ring. Rambo's Hall was the one easy to back, but there's late news from Mac.
Not been a great. And beginning well, Ho Express towards the stand side with fast out Captuluca, the top weight on the far side, with also right up there Maralinga early with Reverend Thickness and Master Beveled over towards the far side. Blizland is handy towards the stand side as they sort themselves out and race inside the Rowley Mile. And it's Captuluca that leads the Cambridgeshire field from Maralinga and Master Beveled. They're all racing on the far side, chased then by Wackhill and Reverend Thickness. Vina is handy in the centre of the track. Then in behind these, Blizland towards the near side. Also right up there is Celestial Choir as they race down towards the final 6.5 furlongs. It's Captuluca the leader from Master Beveled, and then Maralinga close up on the centre of the course. Then in behind these, Virtual Reality towards the stand side with Blizland, and then back in the field is Naked Welcome right over to the right of picture, getting on terms with them. They race towards the final 4.5 furlongs, then back to the grandstand. Here's Gigi.
Halfway then, and Captuluca spearheads the field. The Star Jacket Master Bevel showing second. Vina getting closer in red colours third. Nearest to us, the pink cap of Blizland getting closer. The white jacket is Celestial Choir. In behind, horses looking for room. Smart Generation doesn't find a lot. That's well down the pack. Picking up ground at the top of the picture, Celestial Key, and they've got just over 2 furlongs to go. And still Captuluca has the edge. Captuluca the top weight with Celestial Choir, Master Beveled, Vina coming with a rush. Decorated Hero the stand side, and also on the stand side, Hunters of Aurora, followed through by Weaver Bird. Great bit of front running this. Captuluca still has the edge. 2 Decorated Heroes, Celestial Choir, Show Faith, Hunters of Aurora. KV picks up late, Weaver Bird, and then comes Ball Gown. Down into the dip they go, and Captuluca is the one they've got to catch. Here goes Hunters of Aurora. Red cap, Captuluca, Hunters of Aurora. Ball Gown whizzing to the stand side. Show Faith the far side. Captuluca's going to make all so easy. Captuluca, Ball Gown 1 and 2. Hunters of Aurora, Show Faith 3-4. Then Celestial Choir, and behind these came Sue's Artiste, and the field trailed back to Virtual Reality, who was last of all. And in fact, the judge calls a photo to the outcome of this William Hill Cambridgeshire, but no doubt about it that Captuluca has simply made all in the colours of Martin Miles, trained by Roger Charlton, ridden by Richard Hughes, his 55th winner of the season. Second horse home is number 34 on the card, Ball Gown. Chris Lyons owns, Dave Tom trains, Tony Whelan rides. Third horse home we'll find is number 10, Hunters of Aurora, one worse than last year, nosing through into third. And the fourth horse home is Show Faith, that's in the blue and grey. Then we have Celestial Choir just in front of Sue's Artiste, with Crumpton Hill running a big race, then KV. Bottom of the picture, the red cap, that's Weaver Bird. The pink cap is Melotti. Top of the picture, in grey.
Delara in this race last year. She's a real autumn filly, and she hit top form winning the Park Hill Stakes at the Ledger meeting. She's going to be hard to beat.
Yes, she's certainly moving well to post and really does appreciate that this ground. You see her knee action there as she just goes behind the trees. Noble Rose, she did run particularly well at Doncaster to get up and win there, and she's really going to appreciate the conditions here this afternoon. Making her way there on the far side of the course. Just a gentle canter down to post, and a very encouraging start to the weekend for Frankie Dettori.
This is Sylvanie, the mount of Guy Guignard, and she's being a little bit naughty. But she's on her way to post now, after a slight difference of opinion with her jockey on the way out, trained by Francois Dumont, trainer of the great jumper, the fellow. Number 7 there is Sheikh Mohammed's number 2, Russian Snows, trained by John Oxon Ireland, ridden by Michael Cannan. And this filly, everyone will be looking to her to give a pointer to Pure Grain in tomorrow's arc, because she followed home Pure Grain at a distance of 6 lengths in the Irish Oaks. She won at Galway over 1.5 miles 3 weeks ago. She can handle the ground, but Michael Cannan reckons that 1 mile 4.5 furlongs will stretch her stamina to the very limit.
Yes, she was a good second behind Flagbird earlier on too in the Pretty Polly at the Curragh. That was a good performance, and she's obviously a high quality filly, judging by her run in the Irish Oaks. But as you say, Julian, whether she can actually get it in this race over 1.5 miles, stay the trip is another matter.
You'll notice that she is wearing a blue sash, and Sheikh Mohammed's third runner, Genofifa, is wearing a white sash. That's her beyond, number 4, Flying Dream. Genofifa, trained by André Fabre, is awaiting his first winner of this ARC meeting. She won the Prix Royaumont, a Group 3 race at Saint-Cloud in June by over 1.5 miles. And most recently, she was third behind Lille Tudy at Deauville. She's a possible winner of this race.
It's quite incredible, really, when you consider the domination of Sheikh Mohammed, and you can get a fair idea by looking at these races in France when they are bracketed. Personally, I think it detracts from it to have them bracketed on the tote. It's meant to, I think, protect the punter, Julian, but all it seems to do is put you off.
Well, it does. If they weren't bracketed, Noble Rose would be a 2-to-1 shot, Genofifa would be a 12-to-1 shot, and Russian Snows would be a 5-to-1 shot. Lille Tudy on the left, representing the team that won the Prix du Cadran, Miriam Balak-Bardel and her husband Alain. Well, this is possibly the biggest threat to the Maktoum combo, because she won the Prix Gladiateur, now over 1 mile and 7.5 furlongs. Used to be 3 miles, remember. Beat Always Aloof, trained by Michael Stout. Now comes down in distance.
Yes, a bit of a test, I think. We've got a couple here that have gone over 2 miles recently and are dropping back in distance. Theoretically, you'd be hoping that, or you'd be thinking that there'd be a generous pace on all the way. It doesn't often work out that way, though, in the French racing.
Number 5 is Daré Dala, consistent filly, winner at Evry and Chantilly, and third in a Group 3 race at Evry in July. Racing in the colours of the Aga Khan and a 3.8-to-1 shot. The famous Moulin windmill in the background there, after which the famous 1 mile name race is named. Flying Dream there in the striped colours, trained in Germany by Bruno Schutz, ridden by Terry Hellier. Won a race at Hamburg in June but was disqualified. She's about a stone behind the best in Germany. There is Daré Dala, Gerard Mosse. Number 8 is Sylvanie, Guy Guignard, now done at the start safely. In the background, number 2, La Fille du Général. Number 6 is Genofifa, American bred. But they're mostly in the stalls now. Let's join Peter O'Sullivan.
Yeah, just Genofifa to go, or Genofifa. And then the sheepskin nose band on La Fille du Général. Olivier Pellier, he'll be the last to be installed. It's the Arc de Triomphe start, of course, 1.5 and they're away. And settling down in the early stages, Enfleur on the near side comes to dispute the lead with La Fille du Général. Enfleur taking it up from La Fille du General, and then Daradela, and then Sivani. The back marker at the moment is Lille 2D. And going quite a good pace in this mile and a half Prix de Royal year.